My wife dumped a bottle of water on my head over onions, so I finally walked out. My wife poured a whole bottle of water on me, and I think I'm done. It happened 3 weeks ago, but I still feel that cold shock on my skin. We were making dinner together, just canned chili. She said, "Chop an onion and add it." I said, "Okay," and started cutting at the counter. She walked by, looked down, and her mood changed fast. "What are you doing? Those pieces are way too big. They're supposed to be tiny." I looked at them and said, "All right, I'll cut them smaller." She snapped, "No, you already ruined it." Then she pointed at the pot and said, "You put them in." They were still sitting on top. I said, "I can scoop them out, chop them more, and put them back." She said, "Why do you always make this harder?" I said, "I'm trying to fix it. It's not even mixed in yet." She sighed like I was exhausting her. She stepped in close, grabbed the knife out of my hand and said, "Just move." I let go right away and backed off. She chopped fast and loud, then dumped the onion into the pot like she was slamming a door. She stirred hard, splashing chili on the rim, and wiped it off with a sharp swipe. I stood there waiting for her to tell me what else to do. She didn't. She just kept going like I wasn't in the room. I said, "I did what you asked. If you wanted them smaller, you could have told me." She said, "I shouldn't have to explain basic stuff." Then she added, "This is why I can't rely on you." I felt my face get hot. I said, "Okay, I'm going to get out of your way." She muttered, "Good," and turned back to the stove. Then I walked to our bedroom and sat on the bed. I kept thinking, I'm 28 and I can't even help with chili without being treated like a screw-up. A few minutes later, she came in with dinner on a tray like nothing happened. She set it down and said, "Here." We ate in silence. At one point, she looked at my bowl and said, "Don't spill," like I was a kid. After a bit, she pushed her bowl away and took the tray back to the kitchen. I followed and said, "I'm sorry," because that's what I always say. She stared at me, so I tried to explain, calm and quiet. I said, "I'm not trying to fight. I just need you to be specific so I can do it right." She cut me off. "You're not listening. You keep interrupting." I said, "I thought we were taking turns." She said, "You always argue." I said, "I'm not arguing. I'm asking how you want it done." She shook her head and said, "You love making me the bad guy." I swallowed and said, "I'm not. I just want clear directions." She raised her voice. "You shouldn't need directions for everything." I said, "Then please tell me what you want and when you want it, and I'll do it." She stepped closer and said, "Stop lecturing me." I said, "I'm not lecturing. I'm trying to avoid this happening again." She stared at me for a long second, then walked into the bedroom. I followed slowly and stopped near the doorway, trying not to crowd her. She grabbed the glass water bottle off the nightstand. For a split second, I thought she was just taking a drink. Then she stood up and tipped it over my head. The whole bottle dumped onto me before I could step back. I heard myself say, "Please don't," but it didn't stop anything. Ice-cold water ran down my face, soaked my shirt, and poured down my back. She dropped the empty bottle and walked out. Water splashed on the bed and pooled on the floor. I stood there dripping, staring at the mess like my brain couldn't catch up. Then I started crying so hard I could barely breathe. And even then, my first move was to clean. I grabbed towels, pressed them into the blanket, and wiped the floor. My hands shook the whole time. I changed into a dry shirt, but my skin still felt cold. When it was mostly dry, I grabbed my keys and went to the door. That's when she started crying too and yelled, "So you don't care? You're just leaving?" Then, "You always abandon me when things get hard." She reached for my arm like she wanted to pull me back. I stepped away and kept my voice flat. I said, "I need to be alone for a bit." She said, "It was just water. Stop being dramatic." I didn't argue. I just left. I drove to the library parking lot and sat there in my car, still damp and cold. She called over and over, and I couldn't make myself answer. Sitting there, I wasn't thinking about onions anymore. I was thinking about the other blow-ups, the yelling, the names, and the times she pushed me or threw things. Sometimes she apologized. Other times she acted like it didn't happen. I kept replaying my own quiet pleas and how it didn't matter at all. But that night, shivering in a wet shirt, something in me finally broke. If she can do this over chopped onions, what am I still doing here? My phone lit up again. I opened a text and typed, "I'm safe. I'm not coming back tonight. We need space." I stared at it, then hit send. After that, I turned my phone face down, started the car, and drove. Now everyone's saying I overreacted by leaving. Was I wrong?